Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for logging in. Today, I have the privilege of hosting Mr. Jaideep Basu, a well renowned sports journalist, needs no introduction. So, thank you so much, Mr. Jaideep Basu, for joining us today.
Thank you, Sanjeet. Thank you for hosting me again,
All right.
once again.
Yeah, so I mean, to the series, what we are doing is we are actually following on, the Indian football. We spoke about the Indian men's national team. We had a session, on the futsal performance, and I think, today's conversation, another hot topic around I League. So, without much ado, and with keeping all the controversies apart, what do you think are the reasons that played the main roles behind Churchill brothers I League triumph? Are they deserved winners?
Yeah, they are certainly the deserving winners, though they have been declared the champions pretty late. I think the last match was played on April 6th. Yeah, when the last set of matches were played, and today is I think 20th, and they could be declared champions only yesterday, isn't it?
Yes.
So, but it's a belated title, you can say, but better late than never, as the saying goes. So they are definitely the deserving winners. See, Churchill brothers, despite everything, there are a lot of controversies, and uh, actually, a lot of things went to the committees, to the judicial committees of the AFF. So things were decided off the pitch instead of on the pitch. It should be, but it didn't happen that way. But if you look in the end, I think I think all all well that ends well. So Churchill are definitely the deserving winners because uh, despite everything, you have to accept the fact that uh, uh, they were perhaps the most balanced side in the team, in the entire I League. If you look at their team combination and their display, you will find that they were definitely the most balanced side, and they proved it on the ground. First of all, see the I League or the ISL, or for that matter, nowadays any Indian league or any Indian tournament is always tilted in favor of one team or the other because of the presence of their foreigners. It is the quality of foreigners which makes lots of difference. Let's accept the fact. Instead of Indian players, it's the foreigners who make a lot of difference in the teams. So in this case, in Churchill case, if you look at him, Churchill had some wonderful foreigners like that, the Senegal boy Papa Gassama. He was a very fine player. Then that South African player who was really good. I think he scored almost a dozen goals in the tournament. That what is his name? Wedlike, and he's a big player from South Africa. If you go back into his history, he has played Premier Divisions of South Africa for more than a few years. He has played some of the top teams in South Africa. Then that Colombian player, that Moreno, I think he was playing the defense. He was also very effective. And not only that, see, Churchill Brothers have a history of having good foreigners. This is from the day one, from the time they were playing the I League. First, it was NFL, the National Football League, which was launched in 1996-97. They were runners up, and they were runners up by a whisker. JCT were the champions. I think they lost by only 1 point. Even that time, they had some like Philip Mensah and one more player, I think, who later passed away because of some disease at a very young age. They had been Churchill have been somehow or the other are getting very good quality foreigners in their teams. That's a credit. Even players like Odafa, Osumanu, all of them became big names in Indian football. They first came to Churchill Brothers only. So they so in and Churchill Brothers has lived up to their reputation, lived up to their tradition. This time also they found foreigners. Even in the second window when they brought a couple of good foreigners, they turned out to be very good players. And to add to that, Churchill Brothers' biggest advantage was they had some very good Indian players as well. So the combination of foreigners and Indian players like Stanley Fernandez or who scored a lot of goals, who were taking a lot of shots at the goal. Trijoy Dias, his name is, I think the boy's name is Trijoy Dias. He, they, they were very effective players. And Churchill Brothers, another good thing, they rarely suffered from inconsistency. If you look at the league table, the Churchill brothers are first with 40 points. Okay,
Yeah.
good. But who are the teams on the second, third, fourth places like Inter Kashi, Gokulam, Real Kashmir? They were the teams who were the main competitors in the league. Namdhari was initially, but Namdhari faded away in the midway through the league. So these three teams, Inter Kashi, Gokulam, and Real Kashmir, were Churchill brothers' main competitors till the last day. Till the last day. And if you look at the result, Churchill Brothers has not lost a single match to any of these teams. Against Interkashi, who were the hot contenders, who were chasing them. Sometimes they are on the top, sometimes Churchill on the top. It was quite an interesting battle was going on all through the league. Churchill had beaten Kashi once, Interkashi once, at their home in Kalani. Churchill beat Interkashi, and in the last match when they hosted in a in a in a uh, 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 in a quite a tension match it was, because that was like a knockout match for both the teams. That match also, unfortunately, the Interkashi was leading till the last minute, and Churchill found the equalizer. But Churchill did not lose the match. Churchill drew that match. Again, Gokulam, Churchill won. They did not lose against Real Kashmir. They won at home, and when they went to Real Kashmir for their second last match, see, Real Kashmir is a team. Nobody has beaten Real Kashmir on at their home ground this season. At the TSC turf in in Kashmir, in Srinagar, they have either beaten or drawn. They have not lost a match. So Churchill also managed to get. Actually, Churchill should have got, perhaps could have got full points because they missed a penalty also. Of course, it was their own misdoing. So, but Churchill snatched a point from Real Kashmir and came back from Srinagar and came back. So has Churchill has displayed remarkable consistency in this league, and that has given them that title. So, if you ask me, whether Churchill are deserving winners, I would say they are certainly the deserving.
Yeah, no, so absolutely, and even if I take a look at the history, right? Churchill brothers have won the I League twice. It has won 8 Goa League Champions Cup, 3 Duran Cups, and a Federation Cup. So it comes, the club comes with a strong legacy of a very strong, robust club with boasting of very strong players. Now, we all know that Churchill Brothers are one of the traditional teams who are in the circuit long before the ISL came in, or several new clubs popped up across the country. Now, what message does their victory deliver in the Indian football context?
Yeah, Sanjit, you are right. The Churchill brothers are a relatively old, traditional and old team. Their name may not be as old as Mohun Bagan or East Bengal or Mohammed Sporting in Calcutta, who are, I think, all of them have crossed their century years of existence. But Churchill brothers, if I am not mistaken, they are also around 36, 37 years old in Indian football, and they have been playing and they are the oldest team in the I League as well. They are playing from NFL from the 96-97 season when they finished runners-up in the inaugural season. Apart from winning the league twice or thrice, they have also missed the title and finished runners-up at least on two or three occasions. So they had always been a what you say a force to reckon with, barring a couple of seasons when they played badly and got relegated and whatever. But they had always been a force to reckon with. So one thing, one message it can send across, because we get a lot of stories about how the old clubs, how the former clubs, how the traditional clubs are getting shut down, or they have gone to the lower divisions. They are barely existing. Their performance have gone down. But if you look at them, that means most of them are institutional clubs who have wrapped up or stopped playing or shut shop or marginalized their activities. They are mostly institutional sides. When Churchill Brothers came into existence, that time the undoubtable the king of Goa football was Salgaonkar. There was no doubt about that. And 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 just after Salgaonkar were Dempo Sports Club. Then in the early 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, all these times, then Salgaonkar, then Dempo became the top team. They won the I-League. Every title in the country they bagged. They had a wonderful team, top players, foreigners, Indians. Well, I think half the Indians national side at that time were players from Dempo, and all homegrown players. They were not recruited from some other states or other places. They were homegrown players. So Dempo became a very fine side. But Churchill are maintaining a standard from that time only. And now, for whatever reasons, Salgaonkar are out of the I-League. Salgaonkar have mostly confined their activities within Goa. And Dempo also have come up only just now. They have come up to the I-League main division. They were in the I-League 2. Previous to that, they were only playing in the Goa Professional League, and Goa activities were confined to Goa. So Churchill Brothers have proved one thing, and it's Churchill Brothers are more or less a family club. Their resources are not unlimited. They have been somehow they are managing their resources and still putting up a decent team every season. So it goes to prove that they it goes to prove that the private clubs, if it is run sincerely, if it is run properly, it is not only in Calcutta but in any other places it can run. The teams who have who have stopped their activities or minimized their activities, Churchill Brothers can be a role model for every club in the country. That when you put up an effort sincerely, there are people to back you, and you can still run a good club with good players, good resources, and a very competitive side. You can and that Churchill Brothers is a you have won the I-League this time, and Mohun Bagan have won the ISL, Shield and League, and both all the titles. And East Bengal have won the IWL, Indian Women's League, have gone to gone to East Bengal. It is a trump of the traditional clubs in India. Those who are still batting for traditional clubs, it is not always possible because things have changed, the atmosphere has changed, everything has changed. Indian football scenario has changed. I understand, but it is, this season is a tramp for the traditional clubs in India, as far as my opinion goes.
No, I think that's a great point, and it's a win for the traditional clubs, and this points me to my next question. If I take a look, Churchill Brothers will be the fourth side after the Kolkata trio to break into the ISL bracket. Now, will it help in boosting the country's Premier League?
I think it will. I think it will. When you bring in a traditional side, then there are a lot of things you get free. It comes with the club. That is their popularity, their standing, their fan base. There are so many things. There are if you bring up a new club, I have nothing against the new clubs. Welcome, new clubs are welcome, like Punjab FC, from where they have come to where. It's a matter of pride that Punjab FC, which was only 4 or 5 years ago, was launched. Today, playing in the ISL and playing with a lot of confidence and competence they are playing. So it is nothing against the new efforts and new clubs and everything. But traditional clubs brings, as I told you, brings a lot of things along with them. The biggest thing is the fan base. So like Mohun Bagan, East Bengal or Mohammed Sporting, you don't have to work hard for their fan base. You have to only manage them and and arrange your social media and all other things in the proper way that you extract best out of them, they extract the maximum out of them. You don't have to build something because there are. I'm sure there are fans in Churchill Brothers whose parents were Churchill Brothers fans many years ago. Now they have become Churchill Brothers fan. So this is a I think this is a very good sign from one point of view that the uh, traditional clubs I am sure bring a lot of things into on the tray. They offer a lot. They have a lot to offer on the tray, which is anybody would like to accept. Any league who like to prosper and get bigger and earn big names, they would like to, I think, accept it. And at the same time, there is one more side of the thing that Calcutta was the only team which was only place which was having two or three clubs from one city. And Churchill and Goa is not. It's not. It's no strange. It's strange in Goa. It has happened before. There were time in the ILeague when I think in one season Goa had at least five clubs, like Salgaonkar. They had Dempo, they had Churchill Brothers, they had Fransa, they had Vasco. So many clubs were playing from the Goa League, and they were playing in the ILeague. So and they were playing with competence. They were not. They were playing on their merit. It's not that somebody pushed them in the league. They qualified for the I League and played. And Goa, we know that Goa has a huge base of football, despite being a small state, relatively a very small state compared to other states in the country. But their football base is much stronger. They produce lots of players. So in ISL, one thing which was bugging maybe was a lot of Goa football fans were having a second thought about that. Goa deserves more team in the ISL given their tradition in football. So now with Goa FC Goa, if Churchill Brothers also come up, so there will be more games in Goa, more local players will play, and we have seen Churchill Brothers this season have used a lot of local players. So I don't know, but I wish they keep up the tradition and play more local players. So it will finally uh, benefit Goa football only. So I think Churchill Brothers qualification for the ISL is a huge turning point for Indian football.
No, so no, I absolutely agree. I think you touched upon three very strong positive points. One obviously was these traditional clubs already have a huge fan base. So if you take at any leagues, right? I mean, they don't have to do much to create a fan base. The fan base would come in. So that is one. The second obviously is, as you said, right, the history of Goa as a state, which has so much of rich football culture. At one point of time they had five clubs, so it's only going to do good. And the third obviously is you will have lot of the local talent coming in and playing. So there are a lot of positives of Churchill Brothers qualifying for the ISL. Now, however, while we talk about the positives, but never before have the I League faced so many controversies in a single season? Now, what are the reasons for this?
I think you better ask the All India Football Federation for an answer of it, because it becomes so controversial and so confusing in the end. I think only they are capable of replying. I'm not sure whether they are really capable of replying to it or no. But the thing is that, to put it straight to you, if you ask me, the AFF will have to take the blame for it. When was the which was the match which became the bone of contention? Was between Namdhari and Interkashi,
Yeah.
where Namdhari Interkashi alleged that Namdhari played a player who was ineligible to play because he had suspension, and he skipped the suspension and played, which is illegal or something like that. It went to disciplinary committee. Finally, it went to the appeals committee, and appeals committee apparently sat over it for a long time. And but all these things, which Intertashi also pointed out in their letter, that all these things, all this controversy, all these appeals, their results should have been settled before April 6, when the last set of matches were played. It should have been it should have been stopped there. It should have before the matches were played. Every team should have known what their actual position is. But unfortunately, the teams had to go to play their matches rather blindly, and after winning, losing, or drawing, they were wondering at what position they are. They kept on wondering on what position they are, because the AFF could not resolve the issue. It was a it was a, it, they I think All India Football Federation and its judicial bodies had enough time to dispose of the issue. They can always put the blame on the committees, saying that they did not take up the matter in time, or whatever they can say. The, the those who are in these committees are very important people, judicial people. I understand, but they may not have time. But it is for the All India Football Federation to, because it is they are running their league. So isn't it their duty to to find a solution and end things in a proper way, rather than leaving it in utter confusion? It was utter confusion. On 6th of April, when the last round of matches were played, then All India Football Federation media handles, including the website and their Twitter and their Facebook and Insta, everything said, which I think rightly they said that that they never said Churchill Brothers are champions. They said Churchill Brothers are provisionally on the top of the table, because they had no idea about what's the fate of the Interkashi versus uh,
Namdhari.
Namthari Namthari club match. And next day, when the executive committee meeting was held, it was reported by no other than Press Trust of India, India's biggest news agency, that in the meeting, apparently the AFF president, Kalyan Chauve, he congratulated Churchill Brothers for winning the league, which was even more bizarre, and it confused people further. On what ground he did it, he never explained, but he did it. And and the and the Churchill Brothers owner, Mr. Alamo Churchill, he in an interview with Times of India, I think, he said that the AFF president had called him up and congratulated him. Then he was congratulated by the Goa chief minister. So, but still the match was on, because the committee meeting was not held, and it was said that it will be held on 20th of April. Then Interkashi rightly wrote a letter saying that all these things should have been settled long back. And now what has happened? Finally, they did it on 12th. I think the meeting was held on 12th. First meeting was held on 12th, the appeals committee meeting, then again on 18th, and they sat over it for more than 24 hours. And finally, At the fag end of the day, around 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the night, the appeals committee released their verdict, saying that Namdhari's Interkash's protest have not been accepted. It has been rejected. Namdhari was right in playing that player. Fair enough. It happened at 9 o'clock in the night. So is it the way to declare the champions? It takes the joy out of you. Joy, a champion's joy should be instant. It should be there on the same day, on the pitch, like it happened in the Indian Women's League. East Bengal left nobody in any doubt, and they won the league before the last round was played. So when the last round was played, East Bengal could arrange for their fans, for their drums and whatnot. So they celebrated in fashion, in style. They celebrated. Their fans came to the ground. Their supporters were dancing. They were having the drums and bugles and whatnot. Yeah, they had their jerseys on. Everybody was wearing their club jersey. So it was a proper celebration. But Churchill brothers, unfortunately, were left in the lurch, waiting for a result, for the verdict of the what we call it, of the appeals committee. It should have been, could have been done in a much better way. It was uh, uh, it was the entire situation was handled in a poor manner rather in an amateurish manner. All that I can say. For a professional league to run it, to bring it down to such an amateurish level, is not expected and not right.
Yeah. No, so what you mentioned is correct, and the way how it was handled, was not correct. But what happens if Inter Kashi, and the implications, right? If Inter Kashi, challenges the decision at the Court of Arbitration for Sport, CAS.
Sanjeev, don't ask me. It leaves me completely baffled, and I don't know, because Interkashi has clearly, I think they issued a statement yesterday in which they have clearly indicated they are going to that
CAS.
international that court of arbitration for sports. They are the CAS. They are going, and they are going to challenge the thing, and so, see, for the moment, for us, Churchill brothers are the champions. Let's not have any doubt about it, because All India Football Federation has declared them champions in their handles, which we accept. But if since Interkashi is going, there will be, first of all, there will be a lot of waste of money, massive waste of money, because it's not easy and it's not cheap. When you go to CAS, it is not cheap. Neither for the petitioner, nor for the respondent, not for anybody. And they are going to take AFF and the clubs to sack CAS. The notice will come and AFF will have to go there. It is another, what is the waste of money. Of course, AFF is famous for the last few months, they are famous for wasting money on court, not on the pitch. So court means I'm talking about the court of law, not not the playing court. So uh, so there will be and what is my worry is, in any case, if the appeals committee decision is reversed, then two things will happen. First of all, will happen the the champions will change. So Interkashi will become the champion, and Churchill will have to be satisfied or be with
Second.
the runners-up trophy. That is first thing is going to actually not one, more than one thing, two, three things are going to happen. Second, what is going to happen? It will be a big loss for his loss of face for AFF in the international arena. So far, it has remained confined to in the Indian circuit. But in the CAS, if by any chance All India, I don't know what is going to happen, because I am not here with the law, so it could be anything. If the All India Football Federation lose it, then it will be a big loss of face for them, and not for them. It is a big loss for Indian football, loss of face for Indian football at the international circuit. It will once again be exposed that Indian football is in doldrums. There is
Yeah.
no doubt about it that Indian football at the moment is in doldrums, but it will be further exposed. Okay, I accept it. And third thing I am going to tell you, then how come Churchill brothers and Churchill, or for that matter, Interkashi, are going to build a team for the next year's ISL? Churchill brothers are currently the champions. They will like to take build a team because you need better players, better team for ISL. There is no doubt about it because ISL is a better tournament. The competition is much higher there. It's more fierce. You need a better lot of players. This lot of players you have to make changes. This is good for ILeague, but may not be enough for competing in the ISL, which every team does whenever a team gets qualified. But in this case, when Churchill brothers go for building a team and approach the players, whether foreigners or Indians, for playing with for them for the next season, how the players will decide? Because players also know, everybody knows in Indian football circuit that on Monday, Interkashi will move to court against this order. So they will be in a dilemma whether, if in that case, whether to sign for Churchill Brothers at all. Because if Churchill Brothers suddenly given the second place by the CAS verdict, then these players will have to come back and play in the I-League. They are all ISL players. And from the other side also, even if Interkashi Interkashi are declared champions, Interkashi win the case in CAS, very fine. But will Interkashi be left with enough time to build a team? The teams are already talking to the players. So Interkashi will have to sit tight and wait for a favorable verdict from CAS before they start building a team for the ISL. Will then not sponsors will forget about players? Will not their sponsors run away for both the teams? So it's a huge problem for organizational logistic. Every problem for or in the transfer market problem for both the teams so okay, Churchill are champions, but in the back of our mind, we all know this may be in a limbo. This case may be in a limbo at the moment. This entire thing, and any moment the result could be reversed. So this uncertainty, this period of uncertainty, this kind of uncertainty would have been easily avoided, but it has not been done. So that is going to be another huge headache, not only for AFF in a CAS, but for both the teams whosoever will win in CAS.
No, very well said. And I'm just being wary of time. I think we're just over the time. But I think a lot of questions to the federation, the way how this entire I League season has been handled, and specifically if the verdict comes in favor of Interkashi, it's a loss of face not only for the federation, but I would say in general the Indian football. As you correctly mentioned, it has kept not only the clubs, the fans, even the players for that matter in limbo because of the way how this entire league has been handled by AIFF. So a lot of questions which I think AIFF, the federation, has to introspect in terms of how can they do better to avoid these kind of situations. But again, a lot of questions being unanswered, and brings a disappointment to the fans who really love this game. So thank you so much, Mr. Jaideep Basu, for your time. Any last thoughts before we sign off for today?
Yeah, last thought. What I told you the league is over, the season is over. Now the Super Cup, the knockout tournament is starting today. We'll all be watching because India doesn't have too many knockout tournaments these days. After the most of the traditional tournaments have been stopped, we don't get to see knockout matches, and knockout matches are very attractive. I personally like to watch knockout matches. This do or die situation. But despite the season being almost over and the league, I-League, AFF's biggest tournament is over, the situation is such, everybody, whether it is the organizers, that is AFF, or the players, or the club management, or the coach, or anybody, or the fans, will be on their toes till the verdict in case comes out.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Mr. Jaideep Basu, for your time. Let's hope that we are all eagerly waiting for the CAS verdict to come. But again, questions to the federation in the way how Indian football is getting managed. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sanjeev. Thank you for sparing your time.